What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm here in the shop because we have electricity. You guys saw that we got electricity right after the Harris Chain event. Now I'm just doing a little bit of work in here. You can see I've cleaned up quite a bit. Of course, we still got a pile of stuff from our move, and we've got more in storage. But overall, I was able to really open this space up and clean everything up. And the big project yesterday was to put those panels up, that plywood, which was really expensive. So this is my nest egg right here. $400 worth of plywood sitting on the wall right there. Ridiculous. But this is where our slat board is gonna go. So our bait wall is gonna go here. I just ordered the slat board yesterday, some 4x8 panels, got 4 of those. So that's gonna fill up the majority of this. We're gonna have one panel exposed, and I'm gonna figure out what I want to do with that one panel. We might do a little bit more slat board, but in any case, yeah, so we've got that. And man, the next project is to get everything unloaded from the boat, the truck, and the camper, and then put it all back together again in preparation for the Dale Hollow event coming up. And also with an eye forward to all the TVA events we've got. We've got Pickwick, and then we've got Chickamauga, and then we've got Gunnersville. So lots of TVA events going on, all very close to home, which is nice. Yeah, so I'm excited to get those started and start preparing for that. That's the reason why I wanted to clean this first, because what I like to do is I like to, when I get home from a tournament, just unload everything, you know, get rid of the things I'm not going to need for the next event, and just fine tune everything that we are gonna need. So that's the project. So after we do this video, which is of course the Harris Chain breakdown video, this is gonna cover the entire tournament because we only fished 2 days, and I only got footage for 1 day, the second day, because the first day my camera was acting up. I had to switch cameras the next day, and you know, so we got footage for 1 day at least. But anyways, it doesn't really matter because the first day I only caught 3 fish, and it would be a pretty boring video. And you saw most of the best action on live. But anyways, let's get started. First off, let's kind of, you know, recap what happened that first day of the tournament. So, of course, the first day, terrible day, only came in with 3 fish, was down in the way low hundreds. You know, I think I was in 140 something. And so real bummer of a day, had some weird things happen to me. And since I've done that last video, I've had people send me pictures of their eyes swelling up, them having some kind of allergic reaction on Lake Apopka. So I don't think that there's a coincidence. You know, a guy in the lock on the second day told me that that he had the same thing happen. I had another guy send me a picture, and his eyes look exactly like mine. So you know, there's something going on there, whether it's, you know, natural, you know, just pollen or something like that, allergic reaction, or, you know, I don't know if they're spraying something, but you know, Apopka's never been a very healthy looking lake. We'll just say that. So I don't know if there's something in the water that's blooming. I don't know. I am definitely not qualified to talk on allergies or something like that. But I just thought it was interesting that people were reaching out to me with their experiences that were very similar. But anyways, so day one, you know, started out in Beauclair, fishing a jerkbait offshore, which is where I should have stayed the entire tournament. And then just on a whim, I decided to run down to Apopka, and wasted so much time down there, had that eye thing flare up, and then I just couldn't recover throughout the day. I should have, because that's what a professional does, is they recover from whatever gets thrown their way, but I didn't. So had a terrible first day. So the second day, my whole plan was to go into Apopka and swing for the fences. I racked my brain the night before. You know, this was the day I could have just gone out and done anything and try to, you know, catch a giant bag. And I really just decided, you know, one thing that I know the best in Florida is flipping and pitching. And the only place that I knew on the Harris Chain that I could guarantee to at least get some bites and probably have the best shot at a 20-pound plus bag was a Popka. So decided, despite a terrible day in practice on a Popka, terrible first day in a Popka, I still decided to go down to a Popka. So let's start this video, and here we go. It's a beautiful day. You know, that was part of the thing, is like, I knew that it was such a gorgeous day for flipping and pitching that, you know, likely, you know, if we did have another wave of spawners, they might start showing up today. And so that was factoring into my whole disillusion, or, you know, illusion of you know, there actually being, you know, a big bag to be caught here. I guess it would be disillusion. I was definitely disillusioned in this tournament, that's for sure. I'm sitting here, you know, one of my favorite baits for finesse flipping in Florida has become the Z-Man Bang Sticks. And the Bang Sticks is a nice, it's got a lot of buoyancy to it, so when it's on the bottom, it really just raises out of that muck, and it's just a really, really good bait. So that's what I'm flipping. And here we go, first fish of the day. This is a boondoggle. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Let's just throw them over each side of the boat. Finally, just pull them in. Gosh, what a terrible, terrible catch. But he's in the boat. And that, I wouldn't have got that fish in if it wasn't for that Hayabusa 959. I'm such a big believer in the EWGs now. So, you know, in pre-practice and in practice, the times that I visited Apopka, I fished primarily the reeds. But here you can see I'm fishing the pads. It seems like cold fronts really tend to, you know, the bite really tends to favor the pads over like reeds or something. You know, pre-cold front, you could catch them in the reeds really good, but then after the cold front, I don't know if it's because, you know, pads generally grow in dirtier water. This is a really small fish. This is not even a pound, unfortunately. But I have a feeling that pads might be, you know, a better bet after a cold front. I've seen it before, but it was definitely, you know, confirmed today. Speaking of which, we got some isolated reeds here. I believe that what's coming up is the only fish I caught out of reeds all day. Oh yeah, he's there. There we go, there's number 3. And these are pretty spaced out. This is not like happening very, very fast. So I'm already realizing that I've pretty much made a mistake and I've made my bed, but I can't really abandon Apopka yet, is what's going through my mind. I have to kind of stick it out and at least catch a limit, because at this point I just need more points. I need to get as many points as I possibly can in this tournament, because I'm in recovery mode. So back to the pads. At this point, I ventured to so many different places. These pads just look good. I had to pitch to them. I visited a lot of places on the lake and came back to these pads. There we go, 3-pounder. I was actually really surprised this one turned out to be a 3-pounder. Man, I cut my hand on that right there. That cigar braid cuts through grass. It'll cut through your hand if you're not careful. 2 3/4 all day long. There's a 3-pounder, and I'm just gonna let the camera roll on this one because you know, the next catch doesn't happen very soon after this. think it's the very next pitch is when I catch a fish. Got to fix that bang sticks. And I'm flipping with a 1/4 ounce weight, 50-pound smackdown. Okay, I thought it was the next pitch that I got bit, but I guess I made one more pitch to that small little patch right there. Of course, got the power poles down. Here we go. Pitch it in there. There he is. Another 3-pounder. I mean, almost exact same size. I mean, literally not even an ounce difference between the two. And so I thought I was just going to start smashing them here. So had my limit, worth 11 pounds, 11.5 pounds. So just to kind of wrap this up, I got a 7.6 medium heavy, or a 7.6 heavy action Fitzgerald all-purpose series rod. That's my favorite flipping rod for this type of situation. And again, that 50-pound braid. And then we've got 1/4 ounce weight. We've got a Fitzgerald punching bead, so a flipping bead there in between. And then I used a bobber stopper on this rig as opposed to a peg. I normally do a peg, but the great thing about a bobber stopper is you can kind of slide it up the line just a little bit, so there's a gap, maybe, you know, a 1/2 inch gap between the weight and the bobber stopper. That way, when I pitch it in there, you know, the weight is actually able to disconnect from the head of the bait, and so the bang sticks can kind of float up a little bit out of that muck, out of that silt, and I can just shake it very lightly, and that weight will clack against that flipping bead. But that was my setup, and of course the VLD-10 is what I was flipping with. I believe it's either that or the FX8. I can't remember which one, but it was a 7.2 to 1 gear ratio. Both of those are great reels for that situation, but that is my day. I mean, there's not a ton to report here. This is definitely a video on what not to do, how to make terrible decisions based on history as opposed to current, you know, a current bite. So, I mean, that's pretty much it, man. It was a very rough day. For the rest of the day, I ended up bailing on a Popka about 2 hours before I should have, or before, you know, I could have essentially stayed out there till, and ran around the chain trying to find something different and never found anything different. I think I made one, maybe 2 ounce cull in Beauclair with a jerkbait. That's right. I did catch one that was just slightly over a pound, culling out that 0.9 pounder that I caught earlier. So yeah, that was the only call all day. So by far the worst event I've had in Florida in a very, very long time on the Pro Circuit. Definitely the first non-check in Florida since I've been on the Pro Circuit. Of course, you know, last year in the Open, I did terrible at Harris too. So I've got to go back to the drawing board for the Harris chain. I've got to rethink my approach to that chain of lakes. It's always been a very tough one for me in Florida because I try to push Florida tactics and a Florida approach on the Harris chain, and when that isn't happening, when that flip and bite on a Popka isn't happening, or you know, whatever I want to do that's more Florida-esque, that's when I tend to have a tough event. So I've got to rethink how I approach that chain of lakes. But anyways, guys, that is the video. We're going to forget about the Harris chain. We're going to remember and retain all the things that we learned about this tournament and the mistakes that we made. But we are going to forget about it as far as that finish, and we're just going to focus on the next event, which is Dale Hollow. We've got Dale. I leave on Saturday to go up to Dale Hollow. Going to be a lot of fun. That's the Toyota Series, and so that's going to be an event that I don't have a lot of history on at all. So I'm going to be able to go out there, fish free, and fish with an open mind, which is going to be really, really important. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and I'm going to see you out on the water. Take care.